this positive spirit of organ transplantation. Here's where our mandate presently stands now. We're strongly looking at creating a national registry. And the reason why is at present, when you do sign your donor card, we encourage people to talk to their family about it, because the family makes the final decision. And here's how not only we feel about this, but many organizations and many people that we talk to. We shouldn't have to have that picture where we're approaching the family at a time of extreme duress and tragedy, and you know, and usually when an organ becomes available is after a tragedy. So the family is so consumed in that moment that it's hard for them to think of anything else. So 60% of the times the family has been vetoing the person's wish. We believe that when an individual wants has a desire to donate their organs after they pass away, that's a very personal wish, and that wish should get carried out. And this is where the registry would fall in place, because that wish would get registered, and you know, the information would be available at every police computer, hospital computer, and the first thing, for example, that would click up after a person's death would be whether the person wished to donate their organs. And we know that other countries that have a national registry are enjoying much success in people that are waiting for organs and having them available.
And what other countries would have this?
Spain is a very good example. I think they're leading the world. In Spain, if you go on the waiting list, very good chance that they're going to receive an organ. Like, there's not all this extreme worry by the family, and you know, so they have a very high rate of organ donations, and that is one of the strong reasons. Now, another reason, mutual consent. My desire presently is to meet the family, the donor family that made that decision, and to personally say thank you to them and let them know the great thing that they did, and how beautiful life is. And I've met many donor families that have the desire to meet the recipient so that they can feel a sense of continuance from their loved ones. Now, at present, the only forms of communication is through a screened letter. I want to create something called mutual consent, where there would be the option available if both parties have a mutual desire to meet. The option would be available for that to happen at some point in time. Incentive for people to donate their organs and their families to carry out the decision, knowing that one day they just might be able to meet the recipient. And it's, you know, one day I wish to meet them, but there are some families that would wish to remain anonymous, and that I would respect to the utmost. And in the case that we do go forward with the mutual consent thing, that if any parties would wish to remain anonymous, that would be kept in the strictest forms. You know, a psychologist would term it that I went through the normal stages of knowing that you are going to die, receiving news of that. I went through the angry stage and the why me and blaming God stage, you know. And, you know, finally though, I did reach the acceptance stage. And I found it through that poem. In life, you try and plan your life to make all the right decisions, and you know, to have the best life you can possibly have. And sometimes life hits you, right? In this case, like, I was pretty well planning my my death. You know, I was planning my demise, and and life hit me.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, at the beginning, thought, well, maybe I received this organ so I can live a normal life now. And I tried to do that because I was trying to resume my normal lifestyle and everything. But there was something that was inside me, this desire that I had to do more, you know. I had to do, and you know, things were just unfolding. Yes, I would say I am, but it's one aspect that I have to be careful not to talk too much about, because since I'm becoming more or less a spokesperson,
Mm-hmm.
I have to remember that there's a lot of people that are atheists and that do donate their organs, and that I don't want to put too much of a religious connotation to this, but because I am, you know, very spiritual, and you know, I mean, I'm doing an article with the Salvation Army and the War Cry. They want to. That's where I can really get into my spiritual.
Has the experience changed?
Absolutely.
Different today than
Oh boy. Well, I mean, you know, my outlook on life is definitely different. I'm living life now with trying to live it at its fullest. And, you know, even while I was sick, I found this comfort zone, a safe zone, where even while knowing that I might die any time, I felt safe. And that's the greatest feeling to have. And that's the strongest thing that has changed with me. Like my faith is just so strong now, and you know, I try and acknowledge all my spiritual beliefs as often as I can, and practice them wherever I can, and to show as much love as possible, and you know, and I certainly haven't become a preacher or anything like that, you know. It's just
made you maybe more tolerant or more
yes, because
open to people.
exactly, because that doesn't mean that I'm not human anymore, or you know, like, because there's a lot of closed-minded people, and I have to become tolerant with a lot of things too, because there's okay, feel the disappointment, but to carry on, I think that's the strongest thing, is to carry on. About 35 kilometers, I would say, would be the average. I had to put 200 kilometers in 3 days at one point when I was approaching Windsor, because I wanted to reach the 2,000 kilometer milestone there. I should remember because that was George Marcello.
September 17th?
Yes, September 17th.
Okay. Has it been, has the walk been what you'd hoped? Has it been everything you expected, or a bit more, or less?
More. I had
Okay.
never expected that, you know, this kind of response that we've been getting. It's just gone past. And the other thing is, you know, when you mention roller coaster, there's real things that are going on while we're going from community to community, like real lives and real families and and we met 4 or 5 different stories that just caught our hearts, and we got so consumed and involved in those situations. A mother of an 11-year-old girl donating her daughter's organs, and then meeting this lady in Ottawa, and both of us crying when we met, and meeting with a grandmother that lost her 4-year-old daughter waiting for organs, and she found out what we were doing, and she was catching up with us, and she finally met us in Kingston, and just was so thankful for what we were doing here. And then a 7-year-old girl that was waiting for a bone marrow transplant, and that had only a month left to live,